uniform gradient series or arithmetic gradient series or uniform cash flow or uniform gradient cash flow. They're kind of known in so many different ways. So basically what that is, let's say you got a fixed amount of cash flow every year, which is $10,000 in this case, and then every year it increases by some value, for example $1,000, so increases by $1,000 like that. So this is known as uniform gradient series or uniform cash flow, gradient cash flow, or arithmetic gradient cash flow, something like that. Now if you use the manual equations and the table method, then this is a huge complicated stuff, but in Excel simply you can calculate the present value and then make the decision from there. To calculate present value, simply you can type, so you basically treat all this cash flow as future cash flow and then bring it to today's value, year 0. So simply type the PV, present value function, PV, and then rate is 10%. I'm going to freeze that because I'll be using that for the rest of the period. And then number of compounding period, this $10,000 only compounded on for 1 year. So this is the 1 year cash flow. And then payment, there is no payment here. Future value is basically nothing here, 0. Sorry, this is the future value. Again, if you want to get the same sign in Excel, you have to use a negative sign before that, because Excel thinks that if you invest something today, that money goes out from your pocket, that's negative value, then you get a positive cash flow. So anytime whatever sign you use here, Excel will give you the opposite sign result. So to make it positive, we'll have to use a negative sign there. And then always interest is compounded at the end of the period. You can simply copy that all the way down. That will give you the present value for each of these cash flow. For example, you can see here that that $15,000 you get after 6 years, that will be $8,467.11 for today's at year 0 at a rate 10% rate. You can calculate the total present value here if you want. For any kind of comparison or anything, you can simply sum this column, will give you the total value. If you're interested to calculate the future value of this money, you can also type that FV function and then rate 10%, comma, number of periods 6 years in this case, and then no payment making, and then present value. If you want to get a positive value, you have to use the negative sign before this. So then Excel will give you the opposite, which is positive. So, and then interest is always compounded at the end of the period. So that's the future value of this money. Let's see, it looks too much, but that's what it is. Payment, if you want to get the periodic cash flow, for example, for this, simply you can type that payment function, PMT, and then the rate, comma, number of period 6, comma, you can either choose future value or present value. Don't select both of them. Let's select the present value because that's our base thing. We started the calculation, and then 0 again, and then 0 for future, 0 for the compounding interest at the end. Now this you have to make it negative to get a positive result. I think I should type periodic cash flow, something like this, cash flow, periodic cash flow. So if you have Microsoft Excel, the uniform series or arithmetic gradient series, you don't have to use that big complicated equation. You can simply convert everything to present value and then convert that present value to future value, periodic cash flow, whatever that you need to do for that particular problem. It is very important that you develop the cash flow diagram carefully so that you don't make any mistake in there. This is the key in getting things done correctly in using Microsoft Excel.